Can you hear us, Tracy?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. So we'll, adoption of the agenda, is there any additions?
No.
Okay,
I'll move the agenda be adopted as presented.
any questions? I'll call the question, all in favor? Tracy?
I'm in favor, thank you.
Okay. And that is passed. So next we'll go to adoption of the minutes. Is there any errors or omissions?
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
Okay, I have a motion, any questions? Call the question, all in favor?
I'm in favor, Tracy.
Okay. Then that is passed. And we'll go to 5.1, development permit application 15-020-2022.
That's for me, yeah.
Okay,
So this is an application to replace an existing trailer out by Goose Lake with a cabin on parcel that's 1.75 acres located on part northwest 2761-8 west of 5. Plan 992-4847, sorry, block 2, lot 11, and discretionary use for just the dwelling unit. The parcel is zoned as reserve district, and one dwelling unit is discretionary use as defined by the land use bylaws and requires the Municipal Planning Commission's decision. The dwelling was advertised as a discretionary use in local papers, and letters were sent to adjacent landowners outlining the proposed development, and there were no letters of concern received. I recommend that the Municipal Planning Commission approve this development permit 15-020-2022 with the following conditions. Would you like me to read those today?
No, I like
No, I'm fine with it.
Tracy?
No, I'm good, thank.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this?
that this looked pretty straightforward. Actually, I'll make a motion to accept the development permit application 15-020-2022 with conditions as presented.
Any questions? None, so I'll call the question, all in favor? Tracy?
I'm in favor, Tracy.
Okay. So that is approved. Next is 5.2, development permit application 15-024-2022.
So this one, the applicant recently purchased a 5.81 acre parcel with the legal description of Plan 0420517, Block 3, Lot 5, which is part of Northeast 95911 west of 5. The application is for a transport contractor business minor. Basically, maximum of 2 vehicles. It's all in the description there. No concerns from the infrastructure department, and it was referred to in the local paper, and letters were sent to adjacent landowners for this proposed development permit, and there were no letters of concern received. The business is a secondary use to the residential use of the parcel. It is my recommendation that the Municipal Planning Commission approve development permit, I have the wrong number there, but 15-024-2022 for the transport contractor business minor with the following conditions. And would you like me to read those off for you guys?
No, I did a question.
Sure.
Okay. Just when I was reading through, I had a question when it goes through the criteria about who can park there so that it's two vehicles over X amount of weight.
Yeah.
And what I was looking at is, it didn't seem clear in the conditions whether they would be, like, my assumption is that that's to transport trucks and trailers. And I'm just wondering if it requires maybe a friendly amendment to include the and trailers in there?
Sure.
Just simply because when it talks then about additional like welding trucks, those kinds of units, lighter weight units,
Yeah.
then I think it just needs some clarification to ensure that it either does include trailers or does not include trailers.
The weight including the trailers, is that what you're saying?
No, just the way that it was written, just to ensure that it's clear
Okay.
for the landowners, so
Yeah.
that if it's meant to include trailers,
Yeah.
then I think it should specifically state and including trailers.
It does say and their associated trailers at the end there.
But those associated, okay, my apologies, I was gonna say, when I read it, I took those associated trailers to mean, the smaller, lighter weight vehicles, I think was the way I had read it, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, perfect, no, if
Yeah.
it's there and it's clear, that
Yeah,
was my only question, I
totally.
just wanted to ensure that
of course.
they didn't get there and go through and go, hey, no
Yeah.
trailers.
No,
that's good.
I believe that's
Yeah.
pretty standard, but yeah, it's
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Perfect.
Any more questions? Peter?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this 15-024-2022 application with the conditions.
Okay, any questions on the motion? Call the question, all in favor?
I'm in favor, Tracy.
Okay. Unanimous, so that passes. So next is development permit application 50-027-2022.
Yep, so this one is for the applicant owns a 39.49 acre parcel with the legal description of part southeast 355812 west of the 5th. And it is for a garden suite for the landowner's parents to live in, occupy. The parcel is zoned as A2 Agriculture District, which has a discretionary use for garden suites. The affidavits might not have been attached, but they were signed on Monday. And the infrastructure is referred to the infrastructure department with no concerns. And letters were sent out and advertised for 2 weeks in the local paper, and there were no letters of concern received. It is my recommendation for the Municipal Planning Commission to approve development permit 15-027-2022 for the garden suite manufactured home with the following conditions. And would you like me to read those?
I think this is straightforward. I'll make the motion to accept RFD development permit application 15-027-2022 with conditions as presented.
Thank you.
Any questions on the motion? I'll call the question, all in favor?
I'm in favor, Tracy.
Okay, that's unanimous, so that passes too. Next we go to subdivision applications, so this will be subdivision application 2022 SUB 03.
This proposed subdivision application is to do lot line adjustments for the 3 existing parcels owned by the same applicant to create 3 new lot sizes while maintaining the approaches and setback requirements for the existing structures. The property is zoned as rural industrial. The parcel conforms to the minimum site area requirements of subsection 4 in that the proposed parcels are not less than 1.98 acres in size. It was referred to infrastructure for comments, and they had no issues with it just being lot line adjustments, and all 3 parcels will utilize their existing approaches. Alberta Transportation sent back comments with us granting variance as the approaches are off a county road with no service road construction to be required. There is an existing shop and residence located on the parcel, therefore septic inspection will be required by an accredited inspector to ensure that the systems meet setback requirements to the new proposed property lines. Water table testing is not required as it was required for the original subdivision. as well as the water availability study. And 2 letters of concern from the same landowner were received and attached. There were no objections from any of the other referred agencies, and municipal reserve is not required on lot line adjustments. I recommend that the Municipal Planning Commission consider approval for development permit application 2022 sub 03 in consideration for the following reasons. Would you like me to read those reasons and conditions?
I did have just a couple of questions or comments
Sure.
actually on this one. So, and I read through the whole package and read the adjacent landowners' concerns as well. I can see, and based on what transportation is saying, that if they're going with the existing approaches on the county road, then they're not requiring the access road because they're not accessing Highway 43, is how I understand it?
Yes.
Okay, and then the question that I had then in regards to that is just to ensure, how does that work for, as long as they access the county road, then it's fine, but what if they want to access that service road? Is that the concern?
The service road is a personal road.
That's what I thought.
The service road is a personal road that we were granted through the county 40 years ago to build for access into the property.
Okay.
And that was built by ourselves. The county had nothing to do with it. They gave us the approval to build it. And my concern is if Alberta Transportation, if a service road isn't put in, so if I have to put a service road in, and my neighbor has to put a service road in before he can sell anything, what's driving this? You're telling me then they're gonna use my road?
It's my understanding, that's what I was just asking, if it just, then if that's a private road, then they wouldn't be allowed to access that road, was my understanding. So, and on the other side, they have access, direct access to a county
Yes,
road?
they do. I'm not objecting what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm objecting to the fact of the Alberta Transportation rules that they had said at the meetings, every landowner was to put in a service road all the way down to, I think it's almost Nojack.
Yeah.
And so, my concern is, if I have to put one in, which I know I do, I'm going to the meetings anyway, and then Lauren Bell will have to put one in, and whoever's next to him will have to put one in. How'd you connect the two? They're gonna use my service road?
I see.
So as the, if I may, as the approaches to the highway are closed, then Alberta Transportation, if they're the ones that trigger the closures, they'll construct portions of that service road. What cuts it in when yourself or your neighbors may need to construct it is if you make application for subdivision. So
Yeah.
that the trigger is subdivision.
Yeah,
So, but in this case, they're granting him the variance
Yeah.
because he is getting from the local road
yeah.
and won't be utilizing the frontage. But like I say, if transportation, whenever they decide to do the highway bypass, decides to start closing those intersections, then it will be Alberta Transportation that'll come and ask probably for an expropriation of land or, maybe a purchase of land in order to put those service roads in. But the minute a landowner triggers subdivision, that's when we have to refer to transportation, and that's when they then make the recommendation as to whether it's up to the developer to put that service road in or not. And in your case there, Olga, I know your neighbor, Mr. Bell, had applied a few years back, and that was a condition of his subdivision, was that he would have to supply service road in
Why couldn't he get it
front.
from the other side? He's got a road there. Like, why couldn't he do the subdivision from the other side? It's exactly the same as what
And I think
Kenny's doing. He
I-
has the,
yeah. In his case, they were looking for the land at the front, so a 30-meter caveat.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my concern. That's the only concern I have. I only have a concern on the road. We built the road, like I said, 40 years ago. It was granted by the county. It was granted by Alberta Transportation. And I know Kenny has a gate in the side, and I know they go through there every now and then on our road. And it's never been maintained by county. It's never been nothing by county. We maintain it. We cut the grass. We look after the whole thing.
Gotcha.
So with the new subdivision going on East Mountain Road, it doesn't affect your road whatsoever.
It doesn't affect his subdivision does not
So-
affect my road,
so-
no, it does not. All
So
he's
right,
doing is-
right now, we're just dealing with Kenny's subdivision,
Yeah,
so that's what we have to go on tonight.
but it concerns me if he starts coming through that side gate and
Yeah,
starts
well,
going
that's
on the
between
road.
you and him.
Pardon?
That would be between you and him.
Okay, so I just come and give you a complaint and away we go, or what really happens then? I'd sooner address things before they've happened than,
It would be considered probably trespassing. What I'm thinking though is if he approached the county, say, and wanted to access that, then we would indicate to him that that's not, you know, a viable service road. So access wouldn't be granted by the county for him to access that.
and I know the county had him put in a whole bunch of trees and there's no more trees there, but anyway, it's up to the county. They're all gone, so.
Yeah.
And I know. they do-
I'm sure you could put a private road sign on there too.
Try it with Kenny.
Any more questions on this? Peter?
Well, I'll make the motion then to consider the approval of subdivision application number 2022 SUB 03 with the following considerations.
Any questions on the motion? Tracy, any questions?
No questions for me, thank you.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
I'm in favor, Tracy.
Okay, that's unanimous, so that passes. So the next one is subdivision application 2022 SUB 04.
This is for a proposed subdivision application to create one new small agriculture holding of 12 acres, plus or minus, that is separated by Range Road 123A from a 153.92 acre parcel on southeast 165912 west of 5. The property is zoned A2 Agriculture 2 District, and the parcel conforms to the requirements of subsection 5A and C as small agriculture holding parcel and meets the density provisions on this quarter section, bringing the density to 2 parcels. The existing approaches are good in terms of our infrastructure comments, and there were no comments from Alberta Environment and Parks. The agriculture holding is over 10 acres and soil classification test would not be required, but there would be a requirement for their existing septic to be inspected. Water table testing is not required, as it is also over 10 acres and no stormwater management plan is required. The density is not over 5 parcels per quarter section, so no water availability study is also required. There was notice sent to all adjacent landowners and no letters of concern were received, and no objections from any of the referral agencies listed here. In terms of municipal reserve, the Municipal Government Act states that municipal reserve is not required for the first parcel out of a quarter section. And it is my recommendation that Municipal Planning Commission consider approval for subdivision application number 2022 sub 04 in consideration for the following reasons. You need me to read those ones?
Tricia?
I think that was pretty straightforward as well, so I'll make the motion to accept RFD subdivision application 2022 sub 04 as, with conditions as presented.
So this is basically a natural subdivision because of the road.
Because of the
Right
road,
to
yeah.
the quarter.
And it's just to his daughter.
Okay. Any questions on the motion? None? I'll call the question. All in favor? Tracy?
I'm in favor, Tracy. I'm in favor.
Okay. That's unanimous, so that passes. And the last one,
Okay. So we have subdivision application 22 sub 05, and it's on the part of Northeast 235910. It's within the hamlet of Blue Ridge. So just recently, council adopted an outline plan showing a phased development approach from country residential into someday being hamlet-sized residential lots. So the proposal is to create, at this point, 12 residential parcels, about 5.71 acres in size, down to, or up to 9.8 acres, our maximum. Under the land use bylaw, it is now zoned country residential district, and it meets the density requirements, bringing 21 residential parcels on the quarter section itself. Stormwater management requirements under section 89 of our land use bylaw. So there will be a requirement for an engineered stormwater management plan, as well as, sorry, I just want to find it here. Because infrastructure commented with respect to just the requirement of wanting the stormwater it's recommending, infrastructure did comment with respect to requirements of a surface drainage plan to be engineered, just verifying existing culvert sizes are suitable. So that ties back into this requirement as well. We have policy 6114, requirements for installation of utility services for new subdivisions. So in this case, all costs associated with the installation of new servicing, being your power and gas, will be required for the subdivision. The developer shall supply by means of a utility easement adequate right-of-ways if required. Prior to registration of a plan of subdivision, the developer shall provide to the county any written confirmation from those utility companies so that it'll be registered at the same time as the plan itself. As far as our design guidelines and construction standards, road access. So every proposed subdivision needs access, and the parcels will need approaches. Our infrastructure comments were new road and approaches for the proposed parcels will be required to be constructed to county standards. Prior to construction, they shall meet with our infrastructure department and have their engineered stormwater and road design drawings in for review and approval. Because costs of any signs that will be required, such as stop signs, yield signs, dead end, whatever it may be, will be borne by the applicant and shall meet county standards. Woodlands County's Utilities Department should be contacted to discuss the crossing of a raw water line with respect to the road access. And then standard is a 2-year warranty pursuant to our design guidelines and construction standards. Requirements for water table, soil classification, and groundwater availability tests. As the proposed parcels are under the 10 acres, soil classification testing by an engineering firm is required to ensure the soils are sufficient for conventional septic systems. Water table and stormwater management. Again, water table testing will be required just to ensure that basement development would be sufficient on the parcels. What else we got there? And then the stormwater management plan, just ensuring road culverts are correct in size and placed in proper locations during the road construction, and ensure stormwater runoff to adjacent lands or water courses does not exceed the pre-development flows. Water availability. The developer has requested that he be able to have wells versus cisterns in this case. So what would be required is a water availability study, an engineered study. It's essentially a tabletop exercise that is required, and that'll be provided to the county. And it should provide us a data as to whether those 12 parcels can have a well. If the report comes in as such that maybe 1 or 2 of them, there's only enough sufficient water for say maybe 8 out of the 12, then we would caveat the four parcels, if it comes up to that. Infrastructure did have some comments, just any connection to the municipal water and sewer would require an engineered study of the water treatment plant's capacity. That won't probably occur until the future development of the hamlet residential parcels. Adjacent landowners were notified, and we've had no inquiries or phone calls or letters. No objection from any of the referral agencies. We did have one letter from Alberta Transportation, just requesting that a traffic impact assessment be completed on Highway 658 and Township Road 594, 2nd Avenue. And that any of the requirements in the TIA would be at the expense of the developer. They also request that a roadside development permit be obtained for any access improvements. Municipal reserves. So the county is entitled to request 10% of the parcel of land being subdivided. There, on the plan, has been municipal reserve lots identified, totaling about 6.53 acres. Environmental reserves, again, under the provisions of the MGA and the land use bylaw, a requirement where there's low-lying land or a creek running through the parcel. The county, again, can take environmental reserve either as land or as an easement. Alberta Environment Parks did comment with respect to that, and just requesting that ER be placed on the creek that runs through the northwest part of the parcel. And again, on the plan that's been identified as environmental reserve lots, totaling about 5.62 acres. So just recommending that the Municipal Planning Commission consider approval of the subdivision with conditions, and they're a little more than what you probably usually are used to, being this is a multi-parcel subdivision. But, yeah, so if you've got any questions.
Just one. We had spoke about plowing in for
Internet.
internet.
So it's not per our policy. Our current policy doesn't identify internet as a service, so to speak, so council would have to amend that policy. But I know the developer had discussed that, and I mean, dig once, I guess is what they call it. If it's probably cheaper for him to, if the trench is open to place it if he so desires. But yeah, unfortunately, our policy will have to update it and to include that kind of service if council chooses.
That or not.
Yeah, no, I know there had been talk around it, but yeah.
The conduit we put in, but
Yeah.
we wouldn't
Yeah.
make connection.
That's all. That's all.
That's
we're
all we
looking-
were talking about.
Yeah, it's just a conduit.
Yeah, just a conduit.
Any other questions?
Okay, that seemed pretty straightforward with all your comments, Joe.
Okay, thanks.
I'm just willing to make a motion to consider approval of the subdivision application number 2022 sub 05 and consider all of the following reasons listed.
Any questions on the motion? Tracy?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Call the question, all in favor?
I'm in favor, Tracy.
Okay. Unanimous, passed.
Awesome.
There you go, Steve.
Good deal.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
You betcha.
I told you
I
it'd be
made it.
beginning of June.
Way to go.
Tight timeline, but I made it.
Oh, you did her. Way to go, Joe. Get a good start now.
Now let's get a dozen houses, a dozen families in those houses.
Yeah, that'll be next, yeah. I'll let
That
Peter
would
deal
be-
with the development
Yeah,
permits.
and the subdivision is welcomed with the local community there.
Yes,
They're
very
looking
much.
forward to.
It'll be good. It'll be really
Yeah.
nice. It's a good cooperative effort between the county and ourselves and the hamlet there. I think it'll be real positive for the whole area.
Yeah.
And for the long term,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
it'll be really good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
you
Well,
bet.
thank you for your patience while we did this.
Thanks, Nate.
Yeah.
Well, and it takes a little bit of courage to go ahead and do all this too, so, because it hasn't been the best few years, so,
Yeah.
no, kudos to you guys.
Yeah, I know there's been a few other people who tried to subdivide that and they gave up, but
Yeah.
you were persistent.
Yeah, some people call us a few other things besides persistent. But no, it's a real plus. So we're excited to go ahead. Everything's in motion to meet all those conditions. So.
And just so you're aware, I did speak with an engineer today.
Darcy,
Yeah. And I think you're on the right track there.
Yeah,
He's very
he's done it.
knowledgeable, and he's done this stuff in the past, and, yeah,
got a team ready to go on all of those, and.
yep, pretty much.
With Nate's, advice in starting it and designing it from the start, and then
Yep.
the next step with him taking it to the development,
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
with AT and all that, will, everything that's in that, document is online, so there shouldn't be any big,
Yeah, well, this is good. This is the first big subdivision we've done in a long time.
Quite a few years, yes.
From an economic development perspective, it's really nice to see something new coming into Blue Ridge in that area.
Yeah.
Well, I think as well with what, the county's trying to do with getting some new investment here, it sure would be nice to have, some properties, for people to buy. It's a huge problem in Fort Assiniboine. We haven't had anybody to take that big step to do it. It'd be nice if we could, but.
well, the way your plan, the long-term plan, it's quite conducive for the way the lots are laid out, the way Nate laid out the lots, and the way the connections are to the hamlet and the highway. There is real potential for those, at least for the first 4 lots, to be developed to the next phase over the long term.
Yeah.
So right now, we take it to this level, and then, the next purchaser that takes those on, and there's tremendous potential there for the next generation.
Oh, good job
Good.
by all.
Yep.
So there's some information items. Anybody questions on them?
I went through everything.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the,
I'll make the motion to accept the information items, permits approved by the development officer as presented.
any questions on the motion? Call the question, all in favor?
I'm in favor, Tracy.
Okay, that is passed. And next meeting, I think Brenda said July 6th,
Yes, we've got another subdivision application coming, so
Okay.
that's the
so
target.
that'll be our next meeting.
We did it.
And with that, I guess we just need,
I will make the motion to adjourn this meeting.
any questions on the motion? None? Call the question, all in favor?
I'm in favor.
That's approved. We're done.